Welcome in for week 11 of the Replies, where we give our takes on the best, most viral moments each week of the Big Ten football season. I'm Emily Eamon, your host, joined by former Buckeye Joshua Perry and former Husker Kenny Bell. Guys, kicking it off, Michigan keeps the dream alive again, taking down Penn State after an impressive touchdown from tight end Eric All to seal the deal. Kenny, this man is moving, and I feel like that's what this Michigan team has kind of done all season long. What do you think it is about this team this year to kind of have a full 180 from last season?
Yeah, they've really slowly and quietly kind of turned it around. They've played well, and you're absolutely right. He's cooking for a tight end, a big man, to seal it in the fourth quarter. You love to see that. But I think it started on the defensive side. Aiden Hutchinson is playing some of the best football at the position in the country. So I think that Wolverines defense has really ignited the offense and really gotten them going the latter half of this season.
Yeah, this is a team that you look at, and I don't know if they have an apparent weakness just in terms of the way that they play ball. I feel like they're pretty strong all around. Quarterback play's been really good. They can run the rock. They hit those underneath routes. Guys can catch and run. You mentioned the defense. Hutchinson, Ojabo on the defensive line, really good. Dax Hill in the back end. Josh Ross, Junior Colson. There's a bunch of guys. They got a bunch of guys playing good football. And they are in a position now where if they win out, this thing is real interesting for them.
I noticed you put a big if in there, JP.
This is not the time to talk about that. We got time for that next week.
Up next, we have Ohio State's Garrett Wilson, who came back from injury and went off. 3 touchdown receptions and 1 rushing. JP, how much of an impact does having your fellow Buck have for this team?
Huge, big impact. You see it, right? It becomes really difficult to defend Ohio State when they have the full complement of athletes out there. Obviously, what Wilson's done has been phenomenal. Chris Olave is a guy who's even flown under the radar at times because he's getting blanketed with coverage. And then you see a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba start to pop out in the receiving game. You mix that in with the fact that they were able to run the ball on Saturday, and you look at this offense and say, okay, if Ohio State decides that they just want to get into shootouts with people, who can keep up?
Yeah, shootout with the Buckeyes is a recipe for disaster, I think, for anybody in the country. Very explosive, not only at the wide receiver position, but the running game is coming along. But, man, he came back and he lit it up. He had 3 in the first half, another one. I think 1 was a rushing touchdown. So, man, this dude keeps getting better week by week, and that's scary.
It's not even fair at this point. I mean, you have all these great receivers already. You add him back to one of the most best offenses in the country. It's not even fair at this point.
Man.
Up next, we have a crazy play from Iowa's Keegan Johnson. He somehow throws the DB off, returns it for a touchdown. Kenny, I know you guys were there. Walk me through this play.
Yeah, first of all, great play by Keegan Johnson, and he really bailed his left tackle out right here because his left tackle chips the D end into the route, and he gets smashed by not only the D end but the DB as well, which it might have helped him out that that D end hit him so hard it gave him a little boost to the outside. But in this kind of situation with Floyd of Rosedale on the line, Iowa Hawkeyes keep showing up when it matters.
This was the type of play as a defender where you flip on the tape and you say, how? Like, coach is going to be mad. He's going to be yelling. He's going to be cussing. And be like, coach, I don't know what you want me to do. He slipped out of it. Like, nobody can do that. It's just a phenomenal play. You give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do there.
With Chez Mellusi out for the rest of the year, Braylon Allen, who is still 17, by the way, picked up all the slack for the Badgers, rushing for career highs 173 yards and 3 touchdowns, becoming the first Badger freshman to record 6 100-yard rushing games in a season since 2001. JP, this man still needs his parents to sign his paperwork. How is he putting up numbers like this?
It's wild because we're watching the highlights in studio and Howard Griffith is like, oh, he's a grown man. I said, no, he's 17. And it is what he's doing is really impressive for a number of reasons. Is number one, he's a physical runner. He's downhill. He's got great contact balance, can run through some of those big hits, which some of these running backs, you hit them, they go down. He doesn't do that. But number two, when you break down the tape, you can tell as a 17-year-old, he really understands offensive football and what the plays are designed to do. So he runs with intelligence and he runs with patience, just does it all extremely well. And of course, he's in the perfect offense for it because Wisconsin's going to run the damn ball.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest point there. If you're the first in Badger history to do something in a while at the running back position, you got a bright future, and that's saying something for Braylon Allen here to be such a young guy. You said something about how he runs with patience, JP. That's one of the best things you can have, especially in the Big Ten, where defenses are flying to the football. If you can run with patience and have great vision, which this young man does, he's going to have a great career, especially in that Badger offense.
Last up here, it was suns out, skins out in Bloomington last Saturday. In the first half, the completely sober college kids had enough of the game and slowly started to gain traction in the upper deck. Kenny, what were your initial thoughts the first time you saw this?
Yeah, completely sober are my initial thoughts for sure. They got some kind of coat on, and it's not a physical one. So this is unbelievable to me. Knowing how cold it gets in a lot of these Big Ten cities, there's no way you couldn't pay me enough. Absolutely not.
No, I thought this was something you would do, Kenny. I could absolutely see you doing something just like this, being a man of the people, having a lot of fun in the cold weather. This is Kenny Bell right here in a nutshell.
You just hyped me up, JP, and I appreciate that, my brother, but I don't do extreme cold with no clothes on. That's not my style. I can't do that. Now, however, enjoying good times with the tailgating people of each Big Ten city. Now that is something you can sign me up for, but I will have my clothes on.
What kind of gear are you wearing, since you will have the clothes on?
Depends what city I'm in, JP.
Huh. Interesting.
Thanks for tuning in to this week of The Replies. We'll see you next week for Week 12.